This is worksheet 21.1, and we're going to look at 22 and 23 here. The question in number 22 is to write the inverse of each function. So if we look at this function, we're going to start by just listing the steps that are in the original function in the order of operations. The first operation here is in the parentheses, adding 1. The second operation here is exponents, so to the 7th power. And then the third operation is that it's being multiplied by 3. Fourth operation is that it's being subtracted 2. So the inverse function would be to undo each of these operations in the opposite order. So instead of minusing 2, I'm first going to add 2, and then I'm going to work my way back up the list. So opposite of inverse of multiplying by 3 is to divide by 3. If you have an exponent, to undo it, you just take that root of it. So the 7th would be the 7th root, and plus 1, we're going to change to minus 1. So if I write my inverse function, I have to first add 2, then divide it by 3, then take the 7th root of all of that, and then subtract 1 from all of that. Alright, here in number 23, we're looking at a graph, and we're being asked about this graph as well as about the inverse. Remember that the inverse graphically is just to switch the x and the y values. So I'm going to pick a couple points where I can easily swap my x, y values and graph this graph's inverse. So here I have -2, -2. That means the inverse of that is the same, so I'm going to stay at -2, -2. This point here is at 0, 2, so the inverse would be 2, 0. And this point over here is -4, 2, so my inverse would be 2, -4. So my inverse graph will look something like this. So now let's answer this question. Which statement is true about the relation? The relation is a function. So this relation, according to our vertical line test, is a function because for each input there's only one output on the graph. So that's true. Inverse is a function. This is the inverse. This is not a function because according to the vertical line test, if we have a vertical line here, for each x value here I have multiple outputs. So for example, when x equals 2, y equals 0 or -4. So this is not a function. So let's look for the statement where relation is a function, but inverse is not a function. So that would be option B.